People who've cheated on their partners. What happened? My first girlfriend cheated on me. I gave her a second try. She cheated again. We broke up. Few months later I got a new GF. She cheated on me. We broke up. Few months later I got another GF and the guy she cheated on me with told me before she told me. At this point I was just mad at how often people were cheating on me. So I went out, met a random girl. We kissed. I stopped, called my cheating girlfriend, and broke up with her. I would like to preface this with, I would never ever in my life cheat again. I'm an entirely different person today than I was then. Am an alcoholic. I would get drunk and do things I horribly regretted, to the point that I wouldn't even remember doing them. I would drink with anyone to get alcohol. It was disgusting. I'm a 90lb 5-foot female, and I got myself into dicey situations so many times. I would actually wake up not even knowing if I had slept with someone. After I let a guy buy me drinks all night, I would do this just to get booze for free. I was in a relationship and he was my primary booze provider because he was an alcoholic too. But when he wasn't around, I still needed to get drunk because my alcoholism was horribly out of control. Without it I would get the shakes. I had no intention of sleeping with anyone who bought me drinks, but I knew the easiest way to get free drinks was to flirt with men at bars. I woke up in questionable places, not even recalling a single thing about the night at all. This happened over and over and over, until finally one day I woke up in the hospital with my face absolutely black and blue, and I had a brain bleed. I got sober that day. I'm not in a relationship now, and I have been sober for over 600 days. I was in the army. I married a girl from my hometown. She kept cheating on me and accusing me of cheating. It must have gone on for 4 separate guys before I finally cheated on her. The reason I did it was I felt like a fool being faithful to someone who obviously didn't care about how I felt. Even then when I did it, I had a stomachache and did not feel any less of a fool. In fact, I felt like a bigger one. I felt empty and hollow. It was when I was overseas in Korea attempting to fix things that she had a friend over while we were FaceTiming. Her replies were cold and unwelcoming even though we had agreed to work it out. She kept looking over the device and smugly smiling at someone. I was done. Over it. I didn't speak to her again until the divorce hearing. A lesson well learned. It was ages ago, and still bothers me to think about it, and was a 20-year-old virgin. I was a 23-year-old serial monogamist. Things would get hot and heavy up until actual piv. Then she'd cool it down, say no, get dressed or move away a bit. I always respected the no, but grew increasingly frustrated over the months we were seeing each other. At the time, I lived with roomies who didn't much care for having people sleeping in the living room. So when my friend, his boyfriend and let's call her Sue had a few drinks, I gave the guys my large couch in my room and took the mattress off the box spring for Sue. I took the box spring. Well, in the dark there were some noises that sounded a lot like some prolonged goodnight kisses that were thoroughly enjoyed by both parties. The fellas had just gotten together recently, and who can blame them for getting a little randy. The box spring and mattress were pretty close to each other, and Sue and I murmured a little about it, laughed a little too loud about it maybe, but the boys were lost in their own world. Apparently this got Sue going a little, and she invited me over to the mattress saying something like, "You don't need to sleep on that thing. Come over here." Needless to say, Sue and I banged to the soundtrack that the boys laid down, adding our own lyrics to the mix. A good time was had, separately, by all, and I felt like a proper piece of crap for it almost immediately afterward. Sue and I agreed that it was a one-off, and we wouldn't talk about it to anyone, and the boys agreed to keep quiet. Later that day, Anne came by, visibly and understandably upset. She broke up with me, and I decided that I was never going to make another person look at me like that again. Never cheated since, and actually ran into Anne years later. We caught up. I apologized profusely. She actually laughed about it and told me that it turns out she wasn't into guys and had been living the Subaru lifestyle quite happily for years. I've never cheated since, but I did discover a love of group intimacy. We hadn't been intimate in over a year. We had turned into just good friends who cared about each other, but physical passion was gone. There was significant liquor involved when it happened. I feel bad about it and would take it back if I could, but I can't. I was honest about what happened, and we broke up. We are still close friends, and we still care about each other a lot. She has found someone else who is better suited for her than me, and I'm very happy for her. In a way, it was the catalyst to us doing what needed to be done in the relationship, breaking up, to make us both happy. A few months before I left for the military, I met an amazing girl through a friend. It turned out that we had lived down the street from each other the past few years and never knew each other existed. In the course of a few months we went from acquaintance to dating to smashing all the time. Then I left. Between boot camp and the training school for my job I was gone 5 months. I ended up dating a girl in my school and broke it off with a girl back home. I always feel terrible about how I treated her, and for years I felt like betraying her ruined my chance at happiness. We finally talked a few years later, and I found out that my betrayal had sent her on a spiral. She joined the military, married a guy who cheated on her, got divorced. It's hard knowing I sent her that way. I was unhappy with a lot of mistreatment and abuse, and cheated with a friend who made me feel everything I had to beg her for. But that's not a good excuse to use. I was just being an a-hole. After all, I could have left, but I was playing both sides hoping things will change, and getting a little too deep in my other situation. I also found out she was cheating at the same time a few months later, while trying to work it out. Lol. Still feel bad about it regardless. I lost a friend group because of it, and broke her trust. A friend constantly cheats on girls, because God will forgive him. That's it. That's his reason. His family and him are mega religious, and he simply believes that God will forgive him. My taxi driver was desperate to cheat on his wife. He was a pig of a man, and was actually quite angry when telling me about it. First day as a taxi driver, and was just venting to me. He said it's like eating pie. He's sick of the one flavor, but he loves his wife. Felt like hitting him. He was honestly awful. Our relationship turned into us being roommates practically, sleeping in different rooms, the physical connection gone. Couldn't joke around with one another, or try to act all cute without annoying her. Anything I did was weird and ridiculous, so I ended up connecting with my boss on an emotional level. One thing led to another, and now I'm wishing my girlfriend would break up with me, because I feel like she thinks I'm her charity case. I thought I was no longer in love. We had been married for 7 years and our home life was super stressful at the time. Just the usual. Bills to buy, young kids, hate our jobs. This younger guy in my industry was flirty, and I was flirty back, and it turned into a fling. We did it whenever we saw each other, and also found ways to meet at places. I was busted 2 years later on Christmas Day. My hubby found the texts. After all that, hubby stayed with me. We have now been married 20 years. And every day I look back and think how stupid I was for almost ruining my family. Wasn't happy in my relationship and told her so several times. She would not allow it to end because of what everyone would think, and also we have an image to uphold, and when those stopped working it was, I'm going to make sure the kids hate you for leaving us. She had me broken, and I think I did it as a retaliation for not allowing me to be happy and to get away from her. Still no excuse, but no matter what, I'm still a great dad. I make sure they know I left their mom, not them. We both stopped trying in our relationship, essentially becoming roommates. A guy at work started treating me like I was special, telling me how beautiful I was. It was nice to hear. Over time our friendship got more and more personal, until it wasn't much of a stretch to decide to be intimate. At the beginning, the idea of sleeping with this guy was ludicrous. I would have never considered it, but looking back I can see where he was constantly testing the boundaries of our friendship to push us to a place where he could proposition me. It happened so slowly, over time, that I never thought anything of it. Not sure if it's cheating or not, but I tried to break up with my ex, and she started crying and pleading with me to give it another chance, which broke my heart, and I reluctantly said okay. Tried again a couple weeks later, because the relationship wasn't getting any better, but same thing happened. She was a really nice girl, and we got along well, but our personalities were way too different, and I wasn't willing to make her my life partner. I decided to go on a wilderness backpacking trip by myself to clear my head. At work I told a girl who I knew through mutual friends about it, and she said she's never done a backpack trip and always wanted to, so I jokingly invited her, and to my surprise she accepted, and was super excited. During the trip we really got to know each other, and I decided I would like to pursue a relationship with her. We slept in the same tent, and drank whiskey under the stars, but I didn't try to kiss or get intimate anyway, because I was still technically in a relationship. Once we got home I broke up for good, and 3 years later we are engaged. Turns out me not trying to make any moves on her made her trust me more than any other guy, and we are living a great life together.